Live from the Motor City, all the way to the Volunteer State. It's time for the Reckless Speculation Podcast, where we recklessly speculate the latest news in the world of sports. From college football to NASCAR, we've got you covered. And don't forget to stick around for the world-famous Bet Your Nuts, where we will give you your best bets to make the most money. Now sit back, grab your favorite drink of choice, and join Robbie Davis, Raj Mehta, Brandon Chain, and Tom Sloan. It's showtime. Good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Tom. I'll be hosting the show tonight. This is the Reckless Speculation Podcast, and it is our college football kickoff. We're going to review last week's action and preview the upcoming week, some of the top matchups. We're going to also go over how good we did last week on our picks. Side note, there was a little discrepancy last week. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to join the show. Some information got crossed. They did a show, but we were unable to get it put out there for you. But we will go over the picks that we were going to make for you guys. So that should be fun. And we're going to do another round of the Super Bet Your Nuts. So we've got 5 picks of the top matches that we're going to give to you guys. And hopefully you can win some money based on our picks. I don't know how successful that's going to be, but we'll do the best we can. But as always, we want to thank our sponsors of Davis, Keller and Davis, which are gracious team member here. Robbie Davis is a part of this law firm. If you need any law advice, any presence there in the Chattanooga, Tennessee area, give these guys a call. They're the real deal. You won't be mistaken for that. And also C&W Construction, our other host, Brandon Chain, is the owner and operator. And if you look at these fine examples that we have here of craftsmanship, you name it, pergola, home building, outdoor patio, you name it, these guys can do it. Check them out. Give them a call. Give them a follow on Facebook. And tonight, fellas, I don't know what you're drinking, but I know what I'm drinking. It's Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Select. That's right. Put it on ice. Drink it neat. I prefer it on ice because I might be a bit of a lightweight, but it is what it is. So we're going to get right into this thing. Going to bring on the fellas, the guy that normally would be the host, but he wants to do a little talking today. Robbie Davis, what's up, buddy?
Hey, man. Yeah, I've been in the car all day. I need to talk to some people. So, yeah, thanks for hosting. And, yeah, I'll be the talking head tonight.
Yeah, and you know what? That's all right with me because you got a lot to talk about. Brandon Chain, what's up, bud?
What's going on? What's going on?
Interesting weekend of sports, that's for sure. Awesome action. Looking forward to talking about it. And, ladies and gentlemen, maybe the first or second time in Reckless Speculation new era history. That's right. Raj Mehta is on time. What's up, Mr. Mehta?
Dude, why has anyone else ever hosted? Dude, you sound like just like my favorite guy in the world, which is a strip club DJ.
Oh,
well. Like just a straight up natural. Now coming to the stage, ladies and
coming to
gentlemen.
the stage, Mercedes. Fellas, get your dollars ready.
That's dude, honest. Whoa. Chills.
I was looking for the stage.
Don't forget to tip your waitresses. Maybe that's a new career move I have to look into.
We'll work on the audition later.
Yep, for sure.
We should go see how some of the professionals do it, just so we make sure we have the cadence.
Yeah,
man.
Research is definitely part of it.
Yeah,
it's
part of any investigation is a site visit. You need to really figure out what happened and what went down.
It's been a while since I've frequented one of those gentlemen's clubs around here. So
yeah, me too.
I don't believe that for a minute.
I haven't been since the pandemic. You know what? I need to support the economy.
Do we
I
need or
think
single moms?
that's going to be my
Yeah.
I need to go and see what it's like again.
I went during the pandemic, and the girls wore 2 masks. Don't worry.
Yeah, the old
Minutes.
double safety.
Oh yes.
2D.
All right, guys,
2D.
let's get
Cover
into
2.
this thing.
Cover
Just one
2.
person about it.
So the big game of the week last week was the showdown in Tuscaloosa between the Longhorns of Texas and in Alabama. This actually turned out to be quite the blowout for Texas. I think we all were a bit shocked. I think only one of us picked Texas in this group. But, Brandon, since you obviously were the one that got it right, I'll start with you. Were you a bit surprised how Texas seemed to really go in there and kind of like push their own weight, and they did not show any fear? Was that a bit of a surprise for you?
Not much of a surprise. So if you break down the game last year, before Quinn Ewers went out, they were dominating Alabama. And, I mean, they were throwing all over them. And this is with Bryce Young, at the helm. Being at Alabama, yeah, I could see a little bit of surprise there with the home crowd and, the preparation from last year's game film with Saban. But they didn't have an answer. I mean, they couldn't stop them. Quinn Ewers just picked them apart. And then, Bama's guy, what's
Milroe?
Milroe, yeah, just a couple interceptions. Not quite the hype that he got after the first game where they were calling for Heisman. So,
look who they were playing.
Alabama jumps all the way up to 4, and typical Alabama. So, no, I wasn't surprised, but I was a little bit. I guess happy that it went the way I thought it was kind of going to go. So
it's always a good day when Alabama loses. That's for sure.
It was
AlabamaFans.com.
Well, I know Milroe. What really was shocking to me was the fact that how often he was running for his life. So he was forced out of the pocket on a regular basis, and he's not. I don't think he's the type of quarterback that really can throw well on the run, and I think that's where a lot of his mistakes came from. So, that's going to be an issue moving forward for Alabama, the confidence at the quarterback position. Raj, domination is really the only word I can think of when it comes to how Texas played. Where does this program sit at the moment? Seeing that Quinn Ewers definitely took this offseason. He lost about 20 pounds. He got rid of that ridiculous mullet, thankfully. And his performance really showed. I do agree with what Brandon said about Ewers last year. He was dominant until the injury. So the fact that he did play well wasn't that surprising. But where does Texas sit now amongst some of the big boys in the top 25?
I mean, as a USC guy, I picked Bama because I just thought Texas would sark it up. I call it sark it up. They managed, a lack of discipline, bad turnovers, over-ambitious play calling. It's interesting. In the preseason Big 12, there were 0 Texas defensive linemen. The only person in the front 7 was linebacker Jalen Ford. And I was shocked, like you said, at how much the Texas front controlled that game on both sides of the ball, but especially on defense. And I know Bama's young, but Alabama averaged 3.1 yards per carry. When is the last time Bama averaged 3.1 yards per carry? I mean, that's running back university. Like you said, with yours, I agree he dominated. He did well last year. But to me, he seemed like he went from a kid to a man. And in the offseason, and that also involves playing smarter. and he just was much smarter in the pocket. He threw the ball away. He wasn't trying to be that guy.
Yep.
The other thing I took away was, two more things quickly. One, Bama's loss before this game was to whom? Robbie?
Oh, the
Tennessee.
home loss?
Overall loss. Wasn't Tennessee their last loss?
Yeah.
Yes.
In that game, they had 17 penalties for 130 yards. In this game, 10 penalties for 90 yards at home, which is basically like 17 for 130. So the discipline was a huge issue. And finally, the Texas receivers and their tight end, Jatavion Sanders, was just a man amongst boys. 6'4", 250, like an aggressive Kyle Pitts. Like he was running like a freaking slim wide receiver on the outside and then running people over. So with him and Worthy and Adonai Mitchell, they had over 200 yards plus together. And I was just overall, the Texas talent was too good for Sark to Sark it up.
Yeah, take that back. Tennessee beat Alabama before LSU beat Alabama. So the last loss.
Oh, that's right.
LSU
that's right.
after.
Yeah, that's right. You are right.
Well,
Yep.
I'm sure they had a ton of penalties in that game, and I'll look it up.
Robbie, I'll ask you the same question. What does this say about Alabama?
Well,
are we going to see more losses?
Well,
down the road for them.
Like the people that I like, there's Alabama fans and there's Alabama crazies. The Alabama fans that I know, like the smart, educated fans, they said 9-3 is a possibility this year, and I think that is realistic. Sitting here before the season, I mean, I looked at this game thinking, all right, this is a new Alabama team, young quarterback, not proven. This is a game they could lose. But when we were picking games, it's like I just couldn't pick them to lose, much less not cover. The last home games Alabama has lost has been 2019 against the Joe Burrow LSU. And before that, I think 20 at home, 2014 to A&M with Johnny Manziel. That's insane. Those are the two games you've lost at home in a decade. And so as much as I was thinking it's one of those you have to see it happen to actually believe it. I will say this. Where does this put Alabama? It puts me going down to Tuscaloosa the third weekend in October for that game is where it puts them. Their schedule's not all that hard, but I mean, look, Ole Miss looks pretty good.
So you're saying we got a chance?
That's what I'm saying. Let's go through their schedule and look and let's call out who we think.
Yeah,
I only see one other potential loss on here personally.
So,
I mean, if they have zero discipline, 9 for 92 in the loss, a 1-point loss against LSU, by the way. Tennessee can beat them. Ole Miss can beat them. That Manziel team was not that good.
Yeah.
That went into, Bama and beat
this
them.
stretch, Ole Miss, at Mississippi State, at A&M, Arkansas, Tennessee, LSU, that's 6 hard games. I think they drop at least one of those, maybe 2 of those.
The at games are easy. The home games are the ones you got to look at, LSU, Tennessee, and Ole Miss.
We're going to find out a little bit about Ole Miss, this weekend. So that could be a tough. But then you look at the 21st of October against Tennessee, and then the very next week against LSU.
Yeah, and then
that could be make or break for Alabama as far as the season's concerned.
But both at home, and last year those were both on the road, and they lost both games by a combined 4 points.
Right. So Brandon, do you see Texas continue to elevate their progression forward after this big win?
I do, man. I mean, looking at their schedule, it's not very difficult from here on out, in my opinion. I mean, they've got, Baylor's kind of wishy-washy right now.
Bad, dude. Bad.
I think it's at Baylor, but I still think that's a W.
Yeah.
They
only
got
2 ranked teams on their schedule.
They got Oklahoma.
That's it.
That's week 6.
Texas Tech, yeah.
Texas
I mean,
Tech.
Oklahoma's probably their
and
toughest game.
TCU is garbage too. So TCU and Oklahoma, I could see the only 2 potential trip ups here. The rest of them,
They're favored in every game.
Oh, no question about it.
I was talking to Tom before the show. I was like, they could very well go 12-0.
Yeah, looking at their schedule, the way they played Saturday, there's no reason why they shouldn't go 12-0.
And with a divisionless conference, even if they lose one, they can beat that team again in the championship game.
That's not till next year, though.
No, the Big 12 is already.
There's no divisions this year.
Yeah, there's no divisions in the
the
Big
Big
12.
12.
Oh, in the Big 12. I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So
I think Texas is looking pretty good for a playoff.
Texas
spot.
is sitting really, really nice right now.
Yeah, they set themselves up really good.
Yeah.
If they were like at BYU or one of those weird games, I would be like, they'll sark it up. But this year, dude, their
schedule looks cake.
The schedule is cake.
Their toughest games are at home.
Don't overlook that at Iowa State, though, at the end.
Yeah.
Even though they didn't play great this weekend, it's still Ames is still a tough place to play.
I think Kansas will be tough. They got OU the week after, even though that's at home. I mean, who gets up to play Kansas? But with Jalen Daniels,
we'll look past him.
There, dude, that's a team that can move the football.
So we'll move on to the next hype game. We'll say this game actually got higher ratings than Texas Alabama. The Fighting Prime of Colorado, the Buffaloes at home against Nebraska. This game started out pretty tough. I mean, I think Nebraska, their defense showed up in that first half.
4 straight punts, and then
you really wondered if maybe week 1 was somewhat of a mirage or a fluke with Colorado. But man, that second half came and they took over. Shedeur Sanders got kind of comfortable. He got into a rhythm, and they end up winning 36-14, I believe it was. And the crazy aspect of this game was Vegas only had them a 2.5 point favorite here.
That was the easiest money of the weekend.
And that's the one we all got right.
Yeah. Rumor has it Vegas lost upwards of $100 million in bets on that game alone. So, Robbie, I'll start with you. Is this hype train for real? 72 new players for Colorado this year, coming from Jackson State last year, and they've been as advertised. Is this for real?
The hype train is for real. That's for sure. This team is hyped up. Look, they've played 2 teams that I don't think are very good, and they've won both. So, look, they're going to probably roll Colorado State this weekend. I think they go up to Autzen Stadium and lose, and then fall back to earth a little bit, and then
USC the week after.
So they lose 2 in a row, I think, and then. But look, there's a reason why this team was picked to win 3 games. Look, there's new talent in Vegas. Probably doesn't have them as good as as bad as they thought they were going to be, but the schedule's about to get a lot harder, a lot more travel, and I think I think you're probably looking at a 8-4 team, something like that, which is a great turnaround. So
they win 3 games last year.
Yeah, is the job Dion is doing? Is it going to be a really good job? Yes, it is. And the hype train is for real, but I think it comes back to earth here. I think they are 3-2 after 5 games.
Yeah, they should handle Colorado State. Then the big one is in next week at Oregon. So they've got themselves into the top 25.
Game day, if Colorado, and I don't know who else is playing that week, but there's a likelihood game day will be there, and it will be.
It could be.
They already announced it, I think.
Are they
And they
going there?
announced they're at Colorado State. I thought they did.
I heard that game day was there this week.
Oh,
Why
so
would
they
you
may
not?
not do 2 Colorado games in a row then.
Why wouldn't they though? I mean,
Big,
Yeah,
Big Noon was
is
there.
this at CU? Because they used to play this game at
No,
Denver.
How high?
it's in
Yeah.
Boulder. It's in Boulder.
Oh, okay.
It's 10:00 kick, Eastern time kick. So
That's
obviously I mentioned the ratings being, bigger than even the biggest game of the weekend. Raj, what does that do for recruiting? Obviously, Big Noon was there, and the intro when they brought Dion out. I mean, those are things I think all four of us have never seen in the world of college football. Just the mass hysteria that happened during that pregame show. What does that do for a lot of these high school kids that are watching this that might be on the fence about going to play with Deion Sanders?
I mean, especially transfers, dude. Like, Deion's got cred that no other coach has in America, if not the history of America, as the best at his position ever. Not only that, let's straight up call it, dude. It's a gangster position. Like, if you are a shutdown corner and the best ever, and everything he did and high stepping, I mean, Deion is a guy that has unlimited respect from everyone, especially kids. And the day after it comes out on Instagram with him and his kid like rolling hard, bumping, Deion knows exactly what he's doing. He's always been able to market himself.
Mm-hmm.
He's always been like, dude, even the Too Legit to Quit with. I know I'm dating myself hardcore
MC
right there.
Hammer, baby.
All Deion, dude. Yeah, I mean, I was
The
shocked.
Dirty Birds.
Highest ratings. They started out slow, but as Robbie knows, CU is a town that there's something to do for kids every freaking day of the week, all year, 365. They had the biggest crowd, 53,000 plus they've had in 15 years. So I'm sure that kids were like a little bit, pumped, overly excited to start that game. But
ticket prices for that were
a lot of Nebraska fans were there too.
They travel hard, and this was a game that was played every year the day after Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
and it was back in the day, and I'm going to date myself here again with Salah Nesse and rest in peace, and Michael Westbrook, as you know, Tom, about the catch in that game, and which was insane. Yeah, the Hail Mary for you kids, Colorado at Michigan, which was just amazing. But this was a national champion in the early 90s, and they Russian Rashan Salam from San Diego, who won the Heisman 94. It's there, and it's just it got tapped in the coolest way ever with Deion. Now, my question is going to be, Florida State, I think he's going there eventually. I don't think Deion's going to the NFL.
No.
I don't think he has that same kind of allure that I think he will end up at Florida State at some point.
I don't think his message is as clear in the pro game. I don't think the pros will take him to the level of some of these college kids.
I think he's more of like, a buddy than a coach. And, Norvell is going to lose Jordan Travis and Verse and a bunch of dudes after this year. I think next year they're going to be average to below. And the year after, Deion's there.
I agree. I definitely agree with that.
It's a good prediction.
It's almost not to cut you off, Brent, but it's almost like a Georgia with Mark Richt and Kirby Smart situation. Like Mark Richt's winning you 10 games a year, but you got this stud coach that it's his alma mater. You gotta fire, even if Norvell's even, he's a 10-win coach a year. You make that change and you jump, you get the rocket ship going.
Rob,
look at Michigan.
Kirby Smart and Deion Sanders are very different, and I don't even know if Deion's a great coach per se, but he knows exactly what he's doing when it comes to roster development.
The point is, you're sitting there with a gold mine that will come if you ask.
Oh, sure.
I'm not talking about them as players. I'm talking about what you can do to ignite your program. It's sitting there.
Well, I think that program's already on fire.
Yeah. I mean, well, you look at the transfer portal.
Yeah.
72 new players. I mean, the first thing he did was
they got USF's two best players. and they went off. Weaver had 10 for 170, and Jimmy Horn Jr., the other receiver, they're both from South Florida. They're speedsters, a lot of undersized guys, just like freshman Dylan Edwards, who's 5'9", a little like, but he gets like the best players and dudes they come together. They are just ridiculously fast on the outside and it's skill. But like I said to you guys, USC in 1 year, Lincoln Riley did all that he could. You can't change the trenches and the depth in 1 year. And I believe Colorado's going to face that reality shortly.
Sure. So Robbie or Brandon, we talked about it a second ago. What the prognosis as the season goes. What is your viewpoint? Where do you think their ceiling is, and maybe a chance to get top 15 when the season's all said and done?
Yeah, so I think their ceiling is probably 10-2, but I think reality, like Robbie said, I would have to agree, could be more 8-4, 9-3, somewhere in that range.
The conference is finally good. That's
the conference is good. If they get through this, I mean, obviously I think they'll win this week, but if they get through Oregon and USC, even one loss there, I think they're pulling out really well.
At UCLA, at Wazoo, at Utah to end the year. Yikes.
Yeah, it's a little tough. Utah, I think, is another trip up game. That's why I'm kind of calling 9-3 here. I think Utah, USC, and Oregon they can probably lose those 3 games.
And like Raj said, this is probably the best Pac-12. Unfortunately, it's the last year of the Pac-12. This is probably the best on paper right now in many years.
Yeah, and then they're gonna dissipate.
Yeah,
all go their own direction.
It's unfortunate, but this will be.
They have 6 of the 12 are ranked right now.
No, 8 of the 12.
Oh, I was looking at the schedule. Who else?
8 of the 12. It's a higher percentage than anyone else in the country, obviously.
It's crazy.
Washington State and UCLA are now ranked.
Yep.
Oregon State, USC, Washington.
Washington State.
Yeah,
Washington State.
I thought I read 8, but whatever it is, more than 2 is really good for us. So pretty stoked on that.
And still nobody will watch because the Pac-12 network is not anywhere to be found, which is absurd. But this will be really good, we'll say, experience, kind of a gauntlet schedule for Colorado, definitely moving into the Big 12 next year. So I think a lot of the guys that are going to, follow into next season, they're going to be battle tested. And with just the whole hype of Colorado, I think the portal's going to be buzzing again for them. And he's definitely going to be top 10 in recruiting. So
they should own the Big 12 next year without Texas and Oklahoma.
Yeah, there's some good things ahead for Colorado. So we're going to move along to kind of a new little segment that we're going to do moving forward here in our football preview shows. Thumbs up, thumbs down. We'll just kind of go around real quick. Are you buying and selling on these teams? Robbie, you're since you're in the upper right-hand quarter, I'll start with you. Alabama, are we going thumbs up or thumbs down?
I am going.
Is this relative to Alabama?
Down. Yeah, just based on Alabama standards, I'm going thumbs down.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're still 9-3, 10-2, but thumbs down.
Okay. Brandon.
Thumbs down. They've got quarterback issues just like my team does, so I know that all too well.
Yeah. Raj, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, dude. I mean, I think I read a stat that they've been in the top 10 for like just an obscene number of years, but like since 2008 or something. So compared to their standard, which is unprecedented, I mean, absolutely thumbs down.
And I agree. I think the quarterback situation is really, really a problem. And surprisingly enough, they're just not deep as we're normally used to seeing Alabama teams. I do think Saban is a hell of a coach, and can he turn it around? Yeah, but after what I saw last week, I'm going thumbs down for sure on that one. And the team they played, Raj, Texas, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Oh God, way up, dude. They had multiple dudes make plays. The next man up, the freshman CJ Baxter, he's going to be the next great, the next Bijan, if you will. He started the game, but Jonathan Brooks was the guy that really went off, like 14 for 57, which against Alabama is outstanding, over 4 yards per carry. That was one thing I saw that I had not seen from Texas in a long time, was other guys making plays. And then again, the front seven was just outstanding. They played up to how they look, which they haven't done in years.
Brandon, thumbs up, thumbs down.
Thumbs way up. Like I said, we just ran through the schedule earlier. I think they could very easily come out 12-0 right now and get that playoff spot. So big thumbs up. That was a huge win against Bama at Bama.
Robbie, your thumbs up too.
Thumbs up for me. I think, honestly, absent Texas losing to the same team twice, they've got the best. They've got their flag planted to the best win of the season. If Alabama stays decent, that win on the road at Tuscaloosa, absent losing to the same team twice, I think they're in the playoff.
Stays decent, though. That's the thing.
Yeah. If Alabama loses at home to Tennessee, LSU.
So that's what I'm saying. What if they lose one more game? Is that still?
Well,
that win isn't as.
Alabama's still ranked ahead of Tennessee, just like they were last year after we beat them. Like the media just has this thing for them.
That's the thing. This is all like Associated Press and coaches poll BS. There's no real rankings right now. This is somewhat of a, philosophical fugazi. You ever see? Doesn't exist.
You aren't seeing what you're seeing.
Tom, what do you think?
I think it's thumbs up, and like Robbie or Brandon said, their schedule is very favorable. They're tough games that they have is at home, Oklahoma, and we've talked about this before. I'm not sold on Brett Vegetables at Oklahoma. I think him and Dabo are like, oh man, I had a punchline, I forgot. Like peanut butter and jelly.
I was
thinking peas and carrots. I was thinking of Forrest Gump, and it just went way over my head. But I think they rely on each other, and I don't think it's any secret why since they've departed, their programs have kind of But if I can say one quick thing about Alabama, and I'm gonna eat a little Lions cornbread here. How bad do they miss Brian Branch in that secondary? They were getting torched over the top. Where you didn't see that, dude. You didn't see that much other than the Tennessee game last year, where Brian Branch was there to either enforce his will or just make unbelievable plays. So
Malachi Moore was getting abused, and he's a first round pick. They were just abuse. You're absolutely right.
Yeah. So it was interesting.
Was back there.
Next to a team where if I had to speculate. Name of the show here, ladies and gentlemen. A team that I think will probably be looking for a new coach.
Oh, yeah, I am going to speculate.
By season's end, or if not before, Texas A&M. I'll start. Thumbs down. I mean, you could slam your thumb down so hard, you're just going to break it. What happened against this team that we'll talk about here in a minute? Wow. They looked bad. Thumbs down for me. Raj, Texas A&M, Jimbo Fisher. I mean, is the writing on the wall? Thumbs up or thumbs down?
I can't believe he still has a job, man. I mean, you can't have arguably what people call the greatest recruiting class in the history of college football, which is ridiculous, and just be as trash as they were. They lost 21 recruits in the past year. 3 5-stars and 18 4-stars, plus other guys as well. They haven't had a quarterback in forever. Wegman is just trash, and I'm 47 years old. So me calling a 20-year-old trash is not a strong move. So I don't mean it like that, but they've had no one that puts any kind of fear in you when it comes to playmaking, aside from a chain last year. But I mean, there's no balance. The defense has been soft. It's coaching. Nobody's getting better in that program, and that's coaching.
Yep. Brandon.
Definitely thumbs down. I agree 100%, Raj. It's a coaching issue. Jimbo is out of here at least by the end of the season. This is not going to be pretty for them this year. I didn't have a whole lot of hype on this Miami team. And maybe they surprised me a little bit as well. But again, I think, overall, Texas A&M should have won that game just with the talent. But, man, we'll talk about that in a second. But, yeah, thumbs down on A&M.
Robbie.
Yeah, so, I mean, reckless speculation time. So the only question for me is, do the A&M boosters just write the check, or do they take time to investigate and try to get some way to get him fired for calls? Like that's the only debate right now.
Is that a little bit of foreshadowing?
That is a little bit of foreshadowing.
Dude,
stay
who's gonna
tuned.
fool around with Jimbo, dude? Like that. It's gonna be a tough sell.
Hopefully he's got burner phones right now.
Yeah,
that would take a lot of Cialis.
That's the only. Hey,
Chino and Mel are one thing, but Jimbo, I don't know how you can sell that one, dude. That's a tough scapegoat.
It's just gonna be, do you write the check and just and we'll talk about Michigan State has some money, nothing like A&M money, but $100 mil is $100 mil, and that's a tough pill to swallow. Plus, you have to pay another $100 mil for the next guy. Hey, could be Dion, but yeah, no. Sumlin is Fisher is not long for Aggieland, so I'm a thumbs down. Also,
I don't know if I can see Dion at Texas agriculture and military.
You don't pay $100 million to lose to Miami. You just
in the way they did.
Yeah, Miami was a once proud program, but not now. We don't. Yeah,
Miami was on the radar for at all this year.
They won't be. They won't be in like a few weeks.
I know. That's what I'm saying.
Well, Robbie also
even ranked. They entered the season ranked, which they were the epitome of the joke that is the preseason rankings.
There's so many. That's why it's such BS. Like, I get you got to have a baseline, but it like I said, it's just completely made up, arbitrary, astronomical, whatever you want to call it. It's just random. I'm going to put this SEC team here.
I
think Miami. Was this an anomaly, or are they going to go back to the predictability that they have been before this game?
I think for Miami's program, this is a thumbs up. This is a on paper big win for people that don't necessarily watch A&M a lot, because you beat a ranked SEC team. A lot like Raj said, most talented recruiting class ever. Somehow you squander that, but on paper, so I mean, it's not a bad win. So I do think Cristobal's got him going in the right direction. So if I have to pick thumbs up, thumbs down, I'll go thumbs up.
Brandon,
I'm gonna go thumbs down. This is a false pretense here, I believe. You look at October, this is when they're going to start really getting into football. They got North Carolina, Drake May. He's going to light them up. They're done.
They barely got past App State.
Wait, this is your favorite coach, Brandon. You've loved this coach for years.
Cristobal? Yeah, right. And then they played Clemson right back to back. North Carolina and Clemson. I think they lose those two. At NC State, potential loss there. Florida State is a definite loss. So I mean, they're going to downward spiral here, October, November.
On the flip side, though, Brandon, don't you think they have potential to come from unranked into a playoff discussion with that schedule?
If they make it through that.
Nah, dude, it's going to be Florida State, Clemson, and the ACC. That's the only two teams.
You're kidding me, though. I mean, yeah, hypothetically, the schedule is tough. So if they win every game, they'll be in the discussion. But that's the same with Navy.
No, it's not the same with Navy.
Hey,
There's no.
They win every game, they'll be in the discussion.
No, I mean, I think y'all are underselling Miami. Look, Clemson's
you
not
got
very
their
good.
limelight this week. Look, they beat a top 25 team. Congratulations.
Clemson's not very good.
You made your highlight this year. Maybe you can get a couple extra recruits from it, but
we'll revisit this topic. I can't wait.
We will.
Dude.
So, Raj, what do you suggest here?
With Miami?
Yes.
Ugh. Not, Cristobal is a joke. He's Mel Tucker-esque in that he had not as bad. Mel Tucker had 1-5-7 season at Colorado and then got a job at Michigan State. We're going to talk about that soon. Cristobal underachieved with a super talented Oregon team and then gets a job at Miami because he's from there. 23 kids transferred out, 9 players transferred in. Tyler Van Dyke looked pretty good. Much better, more or less like his freshman year. But, A&M 25-16 first downs. They held the ball much longer, 32-20. The difference was 3 turnovers to 1 turnover. One team was not marketably better than the other. It's just one team sucked more than the other, fucked up more than the other. These teams are oddly similar to me, and I expect nothing out of either of them.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think it's more like middle because I think the ACC is garbage in general outside of Florida State. So North Carolina barely squeaked past App State. Georgia Tech's Georgia Tech.
App State's had some upsets in their past history, though.
Yeah, well, we don't need any reminders. We don't need any reminders.
They covered.
But,
wait, who they beat? What was that big win they had again?
Yeah, moving on. I can mute you, buddy.
Hey, they beat A&M and Michigan.
They have, yeah.
But that Michigan team ended up being pretty crappy, right?
Oh God, yeah. They've been pretty crappy until the last few years, but Raj, I'll go start with you since we came back around here. We'll flip it the other way. Notre Dame, Sam Hartman, he's kind of transformed that program with his his play calling skills there. And God knows we've heard enough about his removed rib that they've turned into a necklace. Thumbs up or thumbs down on that program?
A necklace. Oh, massive thumbs up. I obviously watch a lot of Notre Dame. Tom, I bought 2 this week just because I know that the tickets are going to be crazy. I told you guys that Notre Dame's schedule is insane, and they play Ohio State at home just before SC. So the tickets for that game were like $900. So I saw 2 in a decent section that's not the Notre Dame student section for $300. And I was like, I'm jumping on it. But another team that they're eerily reminiscent of Texas. Their front 7 just has looked dominant. They have allowed 2.6 yards per carry against Navy, 2.6 yards per carry against Tennessee State, and 2.8 yards per carry against NC State. And there was a lot of rushing, obviously, by Navy and others. Audric Estime is a guy from New York. He is 230, 235, 5'10". He's a bowling ball. SC crushed them last year at home because they jumped out in front and because Tyler Buckner and others were back there. If anybody's seen Sam Hartman, he followed Chad Greer, the West Virginia quarterback, to 8-man football at a tiny school in North Carolina, or actually South Carolina. But you knew right away at Wake he was the real deal, just a full-on natural. And I knew as soon as he went to Notre Dame that this is a game changer, and this is a team that has a legitimate shot at the playoff. God knows their schedule. Now, they do get Ohio State at home, right? And they get USC at home.
At home. Pitt at home. They go to Clemson and Stanford.
That's all enough. And they're better than both of those teams because Clemson's got one thing that Will Shipley, and I just saw a front seven that was just abusing people. Marcus Freeman, their coach, was a defensive coordinator, and I was really impressed with just how dominant they have looked against, a triple option team in Navy and NC State, who lost their quarterback, but they're not a terrible team. They that's
on
a
the
team
road
to watch out for.
Yeah,
big time.
Brandon, I know you're not a big fan. Obviously, playing your boys here in a couple weeks. What's your consensus? Thumbs up or thumbs down with the Fighting Irish?
I'm gonna have to go thumbs up right now. I think Freeman has done a great job. And it's his third year now.
This is his
second year. So starting to turn around. Like, I thought NC State would give him a little bit more of a hiccup than what they did. Obviously, I picked NC State to cover. They did not. It was
close in the first half, dude.
It was close. They kind of pulled away. So, again, Ohio State nor Notre Dame has really played anyone yet, in my opinion. NC State was their strongest test. This game scares me when we're going into Notre Dame. We've got quarterback issues. We've got offensive line issues.
Frightened.
I'm scared to death of this game. But as of Notre Dame and what they're doing as a whole right now, I mean, they look good. They face a little adversity and they come back and they make adjustments, in-game adjustments. Again, credit to Marcus Freeman on that. So I'm giving them a thumbs up right now.
Robbie,
I am a thumbs down. I think they are out talented by Ohio State, USC, and they lose both those games. And I think they drop one. They have 6 games in a row. Ohio State,
Duke,
at Louisville, USC, or versus USC, versus Pitt, at Clemson. I think they lose to 2 teams that are better than them, Ohio State and USC. I think they drop one of those other ones. I think they lose 3 games. I think they're 9-3.
Wow, that's
I don't love that.
That's a bold statement, Robbie. We'll have to rehash this conversation. That's for sure. For me, I think slow start last year with Freeman. I did a great job kind of rallying the troops, got them up to a respectable end of the season. And really the one thing they were lacking was the quarterback. So Hartman coming in really legitimizes this team. They've all that's advertised as of such. Yes, they really haven't played anybody. The game that I'm really looking forward to seeing is September 30th against Duke, at Duke. We've seen what Duke did to Clemson. Absolutely tattooed them. Yes. Mr. Meta definitely picked that game. So
that was sweet.
We're going to see. This is a twofold kind of a game. We're going to see is if Notre Dame comes off, say they beat Ohio State the week prior, is there going to be a hangover? And number 2, how legit is Duke? Because if Notre Dame comes to their house and Duke takes care of them, we're talking about Duke and the ACC here in the conversation. So this is a really big test that week between those 2 teams. Hangover or legitimacy? That's kind of a huge storyline that we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks moving into that game. But for now, I'll say thumbs up for Notre Dame because I really like what they've done. Brandon, Marcus Freeman's an Ohio State grad. So, I mean, I know you're excited about that. And he's going to be fired up to play his alma mater. What was that you were saying, Raj?
Nobody gets up to play Duke. let alone at Duke, right? Like that's a trap game.
Yeah,
every game
so.
at Duke when they're decent is a trap game.
Yep, absolutely.
Play that sucker at noon. Go ahead and
hell yeah, dude.
Count your chickens.
Even under Cutcliffe, the magician from Tennessee and Ole Miss, and
Pitt's no joke either. I'm telling y'all, 9-3.
We'll see. And I think we all know the answer to this one. We'll go around really quick so we can get into the Mel Tucker talk. Clemson, real quick, Robbie, up or down?
Down.
B. Raj.
How was Klubnik the Texas State Player of the Year? And I mean, that guy is trash, dude. Like I just, dang it, he's 19. Apologies. I don't see it at all. 7 TDs, 5 picks. Never ever moves the ball when it really matters. Down is what I should have said. But
okay, yeah, perfect.
DJU out for that guy. Give me a break.
Well, DJU is a little bit of another story, but all right, moving forward to my neck of the woods. Man, this story is it gets crazier by the day. I'm sure everyone is familiar with the Mel Tucker situation. Allegations come out that he had an inappropriate sexual relationship with a woman who, ironically enough, travels the country and visits college campuses, talking about rape victims and the do's and the don'ts, we'll say. So basically, the long and the short of it, there was a somewhat of a consensual relationship that was established. Allegedly, there was some actions that took place while on a phone call, some inappropriate actions that have been allegations made by the woman. My issue I have is with Michigan State University itself. Let's face it, everyone's familiar with the situation with Larry Nassar. That did not go well for the university. They took a lot of heat on that. So you would think that they would be a little bit more conscious, a little bit more self-aware of a situation that could possibly bring some negative press to the university. But they did not. They were made aware of the situation in January. They then got a group together, an investigative group together in the summer. And then toward the end of the summer, they decided that there needed to be a hearing. Here's where I have a problem. The school knew in January. The investigators knew in June, July that there needed to be a hearing. They let Mel Tucker take the field in week 1 and 2 to coach the program. And after a huge win, let's face it, it was Richmond. But after a big win at home, they score 45 points. The allegation comes out public. I think this is another black mark on Michigan State University. The fact that they allowed him to coach, whether he's guilty or innocent. Obviously, he's innocent until proven guilty. There's a lot of allegations back and forth, so we really don't know the true scope of the story. But nonetheless, they should not have let him take the field to start this season. I think that's a really bad mark on them. Robbie, I'll go to you because you're our law expert of the group here, outside of Raj. What do you think the situation is going on right now between the school and between the coach? Obviously, the news broke that he was fired, and those leaks kind of were wrong. Now he's being suspended without pay. So I don't believe he'll ever coach at Michigan State ever again. So what do you think the situation is going on right now in your estimation?
Can you start with the facts? Because I'm unclear on the facts of the case. Not the case, of the matter.
Robbie, do you know the facts, or do you want me to?
Go ahead. You probably know. I've seen you. You're local, so you go ahead and tell us.
Jerked off on the phone call with her. Is that it?
So there was.
I didn't say it, but
yes. So there was a situation where this woman came to speak to the team, and in the process, kind of developed a bit of a relationship with Mel Tucker. They exchanged phone calls. There's allegedly 27 different phone conversations. And in one of the conversations, she alleges that Mel Tucker pleasured himself on the phone without her consent. Now, this is something I have never heard in my life, unless
Legally.
he advertised what he was doing, or maybe it was a FaceTime situation. She said that she did not give consent. He is saying that she knew it was happening and she was all for it. Obviously, there's a lot of back and forth, but nonetheless, he's a married man. She's a married woman. There was some extramarital contact, we'll say, that took place. So those are the basic facts that have come out. Obviously, each side is kind of holding to their own. She's been alleged to have this type of behavior in the past, where she has made some claims that may or may not have been true. But there's also a lot of speculation around here in the media that the school is kind of using this in a manner to get out of that ridiculous contract that they signed with him 2 seasons ago. So I think it's a situation where Michigan State has an opportunity to get out of this horrible deal, not really affected too much, but I think the scars are there. I think the damage is already done as far as Michigan State University's reputation. Now, mind you, who are they bringing in as a kind of an assistant coach? Mark D'Antonio, who is another scumbag who is accused of lying, similar to what Jim Harbaugh did. And he abruptly up and retired when a lot of allegations were coming out his way. So also, he's going to be kind of taking over.
To note, on those phone calls, the 27, they averaged over 30 minutes per phone call.
Right.
Like who talks to anyone for 30 minutes on a phone call?
Without jerking off.
And that particular phone call that's in question was like 36 or 38.
That's why I'm laughing.
Sure.
No, it's completely like back and forth. But I agree with Tom's point of view on that. As far as it's ridiculous that they knew about it, and if there's smoke, let's just set it aside until we figure out what's going on. Now, I'm not saying that Mel Tucker should never coach again. Obviously, he's wrong. He's put the team in a bad position. But if he's completely innocent and it's a personal life situation, has nothing to do with football, okay, I can see that if he did nothing wrong. But again, you can't just assume anything. You got to stop that as a program, in my opinion.
Is this public if he's not the second highest paid coach in football? No.
Probably.
My opinion. But Rob, legally, if you're not familiar with it, there are some very interesting legal aspects where your opinion, I hope you are familiar, because I'm like dumbfounded by some of this shit.
So I'm going to try to this is a extremely complex situation. I'm going to try to kind of make it not simple, because you can't, but at least kind of divide it, right? So innocent until proven guilty is a courtroom standard, not a public university administration standard. So you are not innocent until proven guilty. You are, what are we doing for the best of the university? This said university is probably the one that should be on most high alert for this kind of things. They just paid out, I can't remember the hundreds of millions of dollars they paid out, but it was a lot. And so if you think there's anything there and you're this university, you probably pull the guy off and say, hey, let's take a look at this till we're confident. The fact that they are having a hearing now it's some procedures that's in the employee handbook because this is still a government position. And so there's due process from government employees. And so they're going to have, it's not like, and I don't know what the laws are in Michigan. In Tennessee, we're a right to work state, but even if you work for the government, there's government procedures that override state procedures. So you have that aspect of it.
There's a morality clause in the contract.
Oh yeah, and it is at the discretion
as
of the university.
ambiguous as whether or not jerking off on the phone constitutes.
Since
Larry Nassar, you know that they're supposed to have more of a focus.
I don't really understand.
There are side politics.
How,
if Nassar didn't happen, this is a different story as well.
Well, maybe, I mean, to me, it's like I don't understand how you can consent or not consent to somebody allegedly jerking off another of a phone call. Like, hey, like,
I think that's where
that's what I've been laughing at. Like,
it's like, hey, I don't want you peeing outside while I'm on the phone with you. Well, I'm okay.
That's where the information is very cloudy.
If the 36-minute phone call is true. Well, if
why didn't you hang up?
Yeah, if someone's yelling at me on the phone, I don't consider them yelling at me. Then I'd get off the phone. Like, it's not.
And obviously, let's not sugarcoat it. You know, it's a serious allegation.
It is.
I think anytime you're talking about a conduct, unbeknownst, it's a big issue. Raj, you're absolutely right. It's a little bit more triggered, we'll say, since the Larry Nassar issue, but also Michigan State had the opportunity to kind of get ahead of this situation, and they just didn't. And so, Robbie, I think you and I were having a conversation the other day where we really felt they were at right now, and you made the comment that you believe the university lawyers and Mel Tucker's lawyers are kind of maybe working out some sort of a buyout issue that they both can be satisfied with.
This doesn't all come out if the lawyers are letting this come out for each of them grabbing leverage.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is just who's got more leverage to get more right. Either get more money or pay less. That's all this is right now.
Yeah. Robbie, I have the clause in front of me quickly, and Section 3B says of Tucker's contract that if the coach, quote, engages in any contact which constitutes, quote, moral turpitude, by the way, which is as ambiguous as any phrase. It was a Canadian phrase initially, was used in U.S. immigration law in the 1800s, has never been delineated. There was a case in 1947 that discussed it. It was about an escaped prisoner. So there is no standard for what constitutes, quote, moral turpitude, or which in the university's reasonable judgment would tend to bring public disrespect, contempt, or ridicule upon the university. He can be terminated. Part is just like if we.
That's the get out of jail free card for Michigan State.
Yes,
if I had to
ambiguity to like your
if I had to bet a significant amount of money that made me uncomfortable, I don't know Michigan law. I don't know, but I guarantee if you run down to the bottom of that contract, East Lansing is a jurisdiction, and both parties waive their right to a jury trial. And so one single judge of their choosing is going to make a decision what moral turpitude means.
He was a graduate of Michigan State. And in the huge donor.
Yeah. So right. I guarantee the books are cooked.
Yeah.
So
no question.
It is going.
You're exactly right, Robbie. They're working out how much it's going to take for Mel Tucker just to go away, and it's what do you have left after what's he been there 2 years now?
2 years
since that contract.
Roughly $90 million, I think.
They had roughly 10 private eyes on this dude at every second.
I bet.
Again, these are very serious allegations, and I don't mean to undermine or quote speculate, especially when it comes to domestic violence in any way, shape, or form, but. This reeks of some sort of collusion, in my opinion. I didn't know it was
over under.
I thought it was something different.
Over under 6 lawyers from College Station on private planes up to East Lansing this week, being like, "How'd y'all do this?"
Real quick, guys.
May I
I
jerk
bet
off
he
Chris
gets
Rock?
20 mil and he's done.
But I
Real
mean,
quick.
he got contracts for like 200 mil. Or
Well,
some
I mean, I think Pruitt got. I wish Randall, if you're listening, how much did Pruitt get? I think Pruitt got about 8 to 10 million, and they had him with McDonald's bags full of cash. They had him red-handed.
Well, that's
He
what I'm
didn't
saying.
even
Like,
get
this
to blow his
isn't.
load.
This
He didn't get
doesn't
to
look.
blow his load.
This doesn't look as negative. Like, I mean, it's a bad situation for Mel Tucker in a personal situation with being married and all that stuff, but it doesn't look like who knows on the consent side or whatever. Like, that's a little sketchy to me. So I could see, 20 million or so, and like he's gone.
I still don't
get out.
That was a Clerks
I still don't
reference.
get that. I have to ask for your consent when I'm doing on my side of the cell phone. Like what?
That's why I
Hang
think
it.
it was a FaceTime.
You can hang up. Hang up.
It's
don't
like,
believe-
what do you watch on TV? Oh, I hate Seinfeld. You better not watch that while I'm talking to you.
I'm sure there was a FaceTime episode, but Brandon, you're right. You have the ability to hit end on the phone call, and allegedly she didn't. But I guess really quick, let's go around. And is this kind of doom and gloom for the university? Do you think they'll be able to lure, an upper echelon type of coach?
Poor choice of words, Tom. Poor choice of words. Lure.
Raj, what do you think there, real quick?
I mean, it can't get worse. Get a young up and comer, somebody from another
Poor choice of words.
Hey man,
if they're never gonna attract. No, can't use that. It can't.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
We'll
keep it to that.
This fool, then it's great.
If you handcuff somebody to the arena, then maybe.
This is never ending.
Brandon,
no,
is there hope for Michigan State?
Probably not in the next 3 to 5 years. I think they're going to be a down program, but this too shall pass, and there will be a new coming. So time heals all.
Robbie.
Can
we not say coming or luring?
I mean, I can't be the only one thinking this, right?
I mean,
no,
you can't talk about normal things in life without innuendos, right? Like
who's out of work right now? Urban, he's available.
Well, I mean,
bring him in.
We go from Tuck Rub and Tuck to sit on my lap, Urban.
Yeah.
Let's
get Urban Meyer in there.
Standard, and
he's done the rehab tour on that Swamp Kings.
And let me tell you,
bring him in.
East Lansing has some good talent. I'm just
he
saying.
would never jerk off without permission. I'm confident.
All right, we've ran this into the ground. Not to pardon the pun.
We should have started with this.
There's too many puns. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Let's get this plane
we've really
on track.
Been holding this in for the end of the show.
Let's go to Bet Your Nuts.
Oh, well, real quick. Last week, the picks that nobody got to see because somebody, let me get it right. Somebody doesn't follow directions good enough to get to the program that I set up.
Our producer goes, so if y'all don't know, Tom is like the Dr. Dre of this show. He's like our talent finder, our producer.
Which would imply one of us is Eminem, one of us is Eazy-E.
Wow.
And one of us is the game that's kind
of.
So
I set up the show, and all he had to do was press play basically, and
that's it. You dildo.
The attorney, the man that has freed convicted murderers as such, couldn't figure that out. But nonetheless, my wife is going to kill me for saying nonetheless.
I didn't know if I had these fools consent to record them, and so I was getting a little worried about getting fired.
So So
Dude, that's
we
a mic
basically
drop right there, and we should end the fucking show on that. That's
they
good.
made some picks. And I'll recap what the picks were. Basically, Brandon tied for first place out of the four of us. Took
I got
Texas,
close.
Texas, Colorado, and Ole Miss. I take that back. He's tied for second.
Yeah.
Texas, Colorado, Ole Miss. Rob took Colorado and Cincy. I took Colorado, Notre Dame, and Mississippi, Ole Miss. And Raj led the pack, taking Colorado, Notre Dame, Iowa, and Cincinnati.
I had
took
Ole
Iowa
Miss. I
State.
had Tulane as well, and Tulane would have covered with Michael Pratt. They
Yeah.
started out on fire. That game was at home.
Right.
We made our picks on Tuesday. I made mine on Wednesday. Michael Pratt was announced he wasn't playing Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
that's dog shit. I would have switched my pick.
It's part of it, though.
Yep.
Same
Oh,
for us.
absolutely. So this week, I promise we, as we have noticed, there have been some people watching, which we're thankful of. Absolutely. We are going to start our picks with Robbie's favorite stadium, the Swamp. Tennessee, his homeboys going into the Swamp. They're 6.5-point favorites. I don't think anybody knows what Florida really is. Maybe our astute co-host will be in the house. If so, hopefully he can do a live segment. But Robbie, what do you got in this one? And real quick, are you keeping track?
I will.
Okay.
Gainesville is one of the worst places in the world. But I may be down there this weekend. And I think Tennessee wins. It's a night game though in the SEC. Those are tough. 6.5 is way too many points. I like Tennessee by 3 or 4, so I will take Florida in this one.
That was
Brandon.
my question, because I think this will be bet up by people not realizing that Tennessee hasn't won there since like 2003. So
right.
It could be like 7 or 8 game time.
So I'll go with you since you're talking about it.
No,
What do you
but
got?
like, do I get 7 or 8 points, or is it 6.5?
It's 6.5
But people are betting based on the lines we're seeing
right now.
I'll take Florida for the same reason that Rob said.
Brandon.
Florida is terrible. I just can't see this. I'm struggling. I know it's in Florida, but God, they're awful. I mean, they were bad last year with Richardson. And so I don't see how Tennessee doesn't win this game by 7 to 10 points. So I'm going to take the Vols.
I'll take Tennessee too. That Joe Milton has not looked as advertised, as everybody's kind of put him on a pedestal, which I kind of warn people, be careful when it comes to Joe Milton. But this is a game I think they get it right. I don't trust Florida. They just haven't looked good. So I'll take Tennessee in this one. Moving on to the next one. The Fighting Brian Kelly, my family, going to Mississippi State. This is a big number. Favored by 10 going on the road. Raj, what do you got in this one?
LSU, easy.
Okay, Brandon.
That's it.
I think LSU bounces back, but 10 is quite a big number. They
went to OT with an Arizona team that
I'm going to lean LSU.
Played terribly.
So, Brandon, you're going LSU?
Yeah, I'm going to go LSU.
All right.
I don't like it.
I'm saying LSU by 21.
Robbie?
I'm going Mississippi State. I think LSU's not that good.
They're not.
Is Will Rogers still there? Isn't that guy like
No.
38?
I'm gonna go LSU here for one simple fact. It's a noon kick, which will end up being an 11 a.m. kick locally. So if this game was at night, I think there would be a little bit more competitive balance. But for that reason, give me LSU.
Will Rogers is still there, by the way.
Oh, well, okay then.
All right.
He's like 36, but he's still there.
going on down the road to East Lansing, which is about 45 minutes from where I'm sitting right now. And we were just talking about Mel Tucker, and in comes Michael Penix with the Washington Huskies coming into town, who, let's face it, he has been as advertised the first couple of weeks. He's definitely in the conversation for Heisman. And pardon the pun, this is a 5:00 kick on
Peacock.
Sorry, folks. Peacock.
I knew that was coming.
Sorry, folks.
I love it.
I'll go first in this one. This program's in shambles. I think what happened this week kind of shakes everything up. I think they were kind of trending in the right direction. Penix he is absolutely on fire. He's used to playing in the Big Ten, so this game won't be a big shock. The time difference won't be effective of them at all. I see this game being at least 3 touchdowns. Give me the Huskies. Robbie, who you got?
Well, before I get to that, let me just say one of the beauties of this job is we have a shared Google Doc, and during the show I get to watch Raj try to do simple things, and it's such a struggle for him to highlight words. And I'm like, how does he function in real life? And so if you see me laughing, that's what I'm laughing at is watching Raj try to do stuff like highlight words.
The different colors.
Oh, I just got the Michigan part, not the state. Why are you watching my every move? That way I know what I'm thinking.
And mind you, ladies and gentlemen, we meet on Mondays to kind of set everything up. And this past Monday, which was yesterday, actually, we got text messages earlier in the day. Hey, can we meet a little bit earlier? We met a little bit earlier. And then about an hour and a half after we got done meeting, the guy that asked to be doing it earlier realized, oh shit, I missed the meeting. So
when I
wait, you don't get any excuses.
That's why I'm doing it now.
Get back to basics.
I'm in first place.
I think Michigan State's in turmoil.
Turmoil.
So I can say turmoil.
Vegetables. But I think they win one game, cover. I got Michigan State this week. They're gonna be fired up at home.
Brandon.
Yeah, I'm kind of leaning Michigan State to cover here. I think they lose the game, but I think they cover. So I'm going to take Michigan State.
Raj.
Same. Quarterback's Korean. Noah Kim, one of my best friends is, and he's also on the Geico commercial with the weeds. You guys see that commercial? That's my homeboy. Great commercial. Make sure you tell people. But yeah, I think Washington's a good team, great receivers, but Penix is unreliable when it comes to health. And he barely played in the Big Ten because he was always hurt. And I think Michigan State responds and loses but covers.
Oh, we'll see. And real quick, what other show are you going to find that not only the law advice and the definitions and the origins of, I don't even remember the words. I can't even spell it because I'm just an idiot. And then, members of actors that were in Geico commercials. Just you're not going to get that anywhere else but here at Reckless Speculation.
Well, hey, Raj, do you want to highlight the entire Michigan State word? Or are you going to just highlight Michigan? You're going to confuse yourself later?
I knew you were looking at that as my wife would do the same as a contract attorney, and there's a reason why I could never do that. So no, I'm going to leave it alone. In honor of Tom, I'm just going to put Mish.
It's going to bother me. It's going to bother me all week.
I know. Boy. Somebody didn't. How can you abbreviate state but not Mish with a period? You did that.
All right. Moving on to the next game. Georgia Tech at Ole Miss. Raj, who do you like in this one?
Georgia Tech, Ole Miss. I am tempted to go with Haynes King and Georgia Tech because that's a lot of points.
Brandon.
I think it's a lot of points too. It is in the Grove, though.
Highlight it.
I do like that aspect of it, so I'm going to go Ole Miss.
Robbie.
I'm
If you can take
cracking
your
up
focus
Roger's
away from the
comment.
Google Doc.
All right, so I'm going Kiffin smells blood in the West. I think he runs it up. I got Ole Miss.
Yeah, this is a primetime game, SEC Network. I normally would probably take Georgia Tech to cover. I don't know. I think this is an opportunity for Lane Kiffin to kind of show where he belongs. So, and he's kind of a classless individual, as we all know. So, give me Ole Miss to cover and win in this game. On to where game day will be present. It also is a 10 p.m. Eastern kickoff. So, how many people are going to be awake or sober to watch this one? The Fighting Deons going up against Colorado State, 22.5 favorites. Raj, what do you got?
CSU is making a change of quarterback to a freshman, Braden Fowler Nicolosi. He moved the ball pretty well, but they were already getting killed by Washington State. That being said, Colorado has to take advantage. It's all marketing until they play teams like Oregon, and they're not going to call off the dogs at all. If Deion can get a Heisman for his son, that's a big if, but he's going to go in with 20 touchdowns into Oregon and 0 picks after this game. So Colorado, Deion is never calling off the dogs. So I'll take Colorado.
Brandon.
100% agree. This is their last big spotlight, I think, this season, where they dominate a team and they shine. And he can strut his stuff into that press conference and talk about, if you didn't make me, you can't break me. All this stuff. So
I told you. You believe me now?
So,
you believe me
go,
now?
I'm going to roll with
Robbie and I think
time.
you guys are pushing it.
Robbie.
Yeah, I agree. One of the rare times Raj and I agree 100%. Yes, everything he said was accurate. Deion's rolling it on people.
This game at
And don't imitate.
Boulder, it's prime time, 8 p.m. kick. Boulder's going to be on fire, not literally, but figuratively.
Actually, literally, it is. They smoke quite a bit.
Well, true. They do here too. It's crazy. But they're gonna play. They're gonna play it like they did in the second half against Nebraska, and they're not going to be stopped. Like you said, this is the last game where they can really open it all up and get it done. Give me Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
Give me the Buffaloes to steamroll. And then the last pick of the week, the game. God, I'm sorry, guys. Gamecocks. God almighty. Going down to Georgia. The Devil going down to Georgia. Get the Bulldogs. Robbie.
I think although Uga may have his red penis out, I don't think that's gonna help anything. I'm going
lipstick, dude. Get it right.
Uga's gonna have the lipstick out. I'm going I think Gamecocks cover. I'm going USC Southern version.
Yeah.
B, what do you got?
I got Georgia all day here. South Carolina's atrocious. I think they win probably by 37 or so, probably 10 more points than this.
Raj.
Georgia has beaten UT Martin Skyhawks 48-7, Ball State 45-3. No running back has had more than 9 carries. All 3 quarterbacks have played. They're going to try to establish the run, grind it out. They're not showing anything because they're waiting until their defense comes together. Rattler will do enough. Georgia wins, but I think it's like a 25-point win. I'll take South Carolina to barely cover.
And I'll follow suit.
Shit.
I'll follow suit. I haven't seen enough from Georgia. Obviously, they don't play anybody in the beginning, so I think that's a really high number. So give me the Cox to cover. Sorry, folks. So I just had to go Cox. All right, moving on to our final segment, guys. We'll make it real quick. Final thoughts, Raj. Let's go with you. What do you got today?
I'm amped, dude. I'm even though the USC played late, it's rarely am a self pat, but Tim Brando and Spencer Tillman were on the call, which are just death. Brando's an LSU homer, but also the flip side was he was very impressed with USC and the same old rhetoric about FC's got Caleb, but the defense ain't good. I think he saw the infusion of talent, including a lot of Southern talent, believe it or not. And this is a different USC team that has at least 2 deep of decent players. The schedule's tough, but it was just nice to see some recognition, not only of the defense, but of a guy like Zachariah Branch. If you haven't seen him, is very Percy Harvin-esque. It's just not the convenient rhetoric anymore. At least I hope.
Brandon.
Short and sweet. Glad to be talking football again. This is awesome. We'll have another show coming out on Thursday as well. But I'm a little nervous about my Buckeyes. Quarterback is sketchy, offensive line sketchy. So it makes for an uneasy season so far. So, yeah, only time will tell.
Robbie, final words tonight.
I'll be short and sweet also. It's Tennessee Florida week. For people that are Vols fans, Gator fans, it's not what it once was, the matchup, but this is the early season. Your season either goes up or down at this week. And so huge week. I haven't won in the Swamp in 20 years. We should be better, but no one's confident besides maybe Dave, who's irrational, and maybe Randall, who has orange-colored contacts. But yeah, it's a big weekend. Looking forward to it. Bristol night race also. So it's a 2 TV night for this household.
Are you going to fly your helicopter to the Bristol night race right after you leave Florida?
I'm gonna keep it close to home. There was a bit of a fate situation in Ann Arbor last week. If anybody is familiar with Ryan Keeler, he was a former teammate of JJ McCarthy in high school. They were lifelong friends, and unfortunately, he recently passed away. Cardiac dysrhythmia. He had a heart situation. Just a horrible situation, and he was at UNLV, and Michigan played UNLV this past weekend. So Ryan's parents were at the big house with JJ's parents, so they kind of celebrated the life of Ryan. And he wore the number 47, Ryan Keeler, when they were in high school. And there was a play where JJ was lined up at the 47. He dropped back to about his own 45 and launched it. And needless to say, he got a 47-yard touchdown pass for number 47 that he had drawn on his hand. It was just an awesome moment. There may or may not have been some tears developing just because, maybe fate was at play here. But awesome story. And real quick on J.J. McCarthy, I don't think he's getting a lot of the a love that maybe he should deserve. I don't think the pundits are really sold on him yet, but he's missed 7 passes this year. No interceptions. He's got 5 touchdowns. Yes, they haven't played the best competition, but he's gone out there and played some good football. So I look forward to when they get into the meat and potatoes of the season and see what he could possibly do. But that was a really cool moment. Number 47-yard touchdown pass. So that was pretty cool. But that's it, guys. Another week. A great show tonight. I think we hammered it down, got a lot of details in. Get your bets in. Right now, Raj is kind of leading the way here. But We'll see what
Not
happens
for
as the
long.
week goes.
Not kinda.
Not for long. NFL. Hey, little foreshadowing. Look for our NFL show coming up here shortly.
Also, for fan subscribers, we have some in the vault material that we'll be releasing at untold future time.
They did record 2 shows last week, but they never made it to broadcast. But this one is, and our next one will be as well. So again, want to thank everybody for tuning in. We really appreciate all the help and all the support. Go like, follow, subscribe. That kind of gets the word out there, and it helps us kind of advance what we hope to accomplish as a unit. So with that being said, we're going to move on and look forward to our NFL show. Fellas, great show. We'll see you all later.
Thanks for listening to another episode of Reckless Speculation. Don't forget to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube searching Reckless Speculation. Catch us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. We look forward to catching you right here next week with another exciting episode of Reckless Speculation.